All right, what is up, everybody? Divine Hood here, coming at you with another daily update on Bitcoin and the crypto markets. Okay, guys, so Bitcoin made another new high today, creating another drive of bear divs on the charts. And we were seeing a little bit of a fake out above that large point of control just to see like a sort of liquidity grab, sort of a failed auction type price action. You can see we had yesterday's highs here. If I zoom in on the chart, let's go on to the 15-minute chart. You can see we didn't quite SFP it because we spent multiple candles above it, but this is considered like a failed auction where you try to get above that swing high level. You spend a little bit of time above that level and then you start to break down. So we are seeing a little bit of a breakdown here on Bitcoin, breaking below that large range point of control. Today's daily close is also going to be important. If we can close above that large range point of control, we probably could see continuation at least up to this 98.3 to 98K area, 98.2, 98.150-ish, I should say. But Bitcoin is starting to lose some momentum on this push up. And I do want to say, guys, this is with the amount of bear divs that are coming on the chart everywhere. We do need to be concerned of a bigger pullback coming. Now, we are going into the weekend, and we know that weekend price action is very rangy and very low volume chop. So for the weekend, it actually would be a pretty nice thing. Remember last weekend when let's go back to last weekend here. Last weekend, throughout the entire weekend, we saw this slow three-wave grind all the way down to the lows, pretty much taking some internal lows here and then making that push back up. So do we see something similar this weekend where we have all these bear divs on the chart? Markets are closing. We're going for the weekend. Do we see a sort of slow grind down to take out these range lows down here, or maybe even come a little bit lower to the midline of our ascending channel and then see a bounce from there? So I'm going to go ahead and talk about this right now. We are at the top of this channel again. If I zoom back out onto the hourly chart, you can see we did see some wicks above the top of the channel, but we've been kind of in this ascending channel now for a few days, a week or so. I readjusted that channel after we made this low, and it is being nicely respected. Now, the midline of the channel is going to be important for us because we're rejecting from the top of the channel. If we come down over the weekend to the midline of the channel and bounce from the midline of the channel, come back up, make one more try at the top of the channel, it could be in alignment with our daily level and our highs that we're looking for, our resistance area that we're looking for. We could put in another drive of bear div on the hourly as well. Seeing those highs here, we would be seeing multiple levels of highs, bear divs come in on multiple higher time frames on the chart. But Bitcoin is setting up for a bigger drop, guys. Do not, these patterns where you're seeing money flow leave and bear divs on the chart on many different time frames. Everyone right now is getting hyper bullish, and this is the time to be cautious. I understand Bitcoin looks strong. It looks like it's going to pump, but we just need to be cautious of a bigger pullback coming. So far, Bitcoin is continuing to show strength. So, of course, the trend is your friend until the end, and we can look for longs at support levels, but not when you're seeing bear divs. You need to be very cautious and play those shorts play those longs as scalps. Take profit when you need to take profit at local resistances or at your next big resistance area. So yeah, Bitcoin's dropping right now. We're seeing a little bit of a drop. I think this 0.5, so if we go ahead and do a Fibonacci pull from our lows on Wednesday to our highs that we made today, and we look at the EQ is pretty much the 0.5. You can see that it's aligning very nicely with our channel midline, but also if I go ahead and come in here and we turn on this range of this entire ascending channel, so all the price action within the ascending channel, you can see the value area high of that range, the bullish backtest. Since we've broken out of this value area high, we have not come back down to backtest it yet. This value area high was acting as resistance, and yeah, we front ran a little bit here, but resistance. So it was a pretty tough resistance area for a week or so. Now that we're flipping it, breaking it bullishly, the thing to see in a healthy market would be to come back and backtest that level to confirm that the market wants to flip that to support to continue up to our next resistance areas. So I am looking for a drop possibly down to that 95.5K area, 95.4, 95.5, where we could backtest that level, that value area high, and then continue this trend in this overall ascending channel a bit longer until we can get up to this order block up here or this daily around 98.3. I would like to see us come up to that area, and there is a possibility that looks like we're forming a smaller range in this area here. So if Bitcoin is going to be really boring over the weekend, it might just stay in this range. But the reason why I'm thinking a bigger drop is coming because of the multiple drives of bear divs all over the chart on many different time frames. We do have to speculate that we could see a bigger drop over the weekend, something like this that we saw last weekend. And if you look at this price action, let's actually just go ahead and take a bars pattern of that price action. Let's see here. Let's just grab from that high to the low. We'll grab that, and let's grab this and we'll put it right over there. Okay, so yeah, something similar like this where we could see this happen over the weekend would be kind of nice to see. Even if we came down to the bottom of the channel where our point of control is, that would even be kind of nice to see as well. And then that would give us a good opportunity to look for a long to take up to our daily level above. But Bitcoin is seeing a bit of a pullback right now. If we look, let's go zoom in on the 12-minute chart. So if we're just going to play this small micro range, scalp micro range here, you know, this area right here. Yesterday, by the way, we did come down. We did see a nice bounce from that weekly and the VWAP area that I was talking about. Came up to our local golden pocket 786 area, got the rejection. You could also see it was the top of the channel, got the rejection, made a higher low though, and we continued to make new highs. So still bullish price action overall, making higher highs and higher lows, but we are starting to break that trend just a little bit. If we look at, let's just go ahead and do this, something like this here. You can see we have even a little channel here that we were looking at, and it's starting to break down. Back tested it just now, and it looks like we're trying to form a rejection here. But I would like to come down and take the liquidity of at least these lows here, or even the lows from yesterday, that VWAP low, those VWAP lows there. Let's actually check this out. If we go pull our fib, and let's look at our golden pocket. Golden pocket, we're at the golden pocket right now. So if this golden pocket doesn't hold, which it looks like it's trying to, if this golden pocket doesn't hold, I do expect a bigger move down. 786. Okay, 786 is around the next lows that I would be interested in. The weekly is still acting as support though, guys. So until we lose this weekly, we do have to suspect that maybe Bitcoin does bounce in this 786 area again. We have internal liquidity. We have our 786 and our weekly. I think we can come down a bit lower than that. But if we get down here with some local bull divs on the chart, this time I might look for that long in this area. If I'm around the charts, that is. Because I'm not going to babysit a scalp long trade while over the weekend. I am also, I know I'm giving you guys a lot of local levels and local scenarios here, but look at these double lows here. At least on Coinbase, it's like a double low here. So twice the liquidity to come grab. On Bybit, I do believe that there was an actual swing failure pattern of those lows. No, not on Bybit. One of the exchanges, we did have that swing failure pattern, but these dead cat lows around 95.7, we have those lows there, and we have just below it at 95.5, 95.450, that midline. So an SFP of those range lows, those micro range lows into that 0.5 and channel midline would be nice. The reason why these lows are important, because we had our big impulse up here. This was our first little dead cat bounce below, and then we had a secondary dead cat bounce, dead cat rejection there, then continued up in the impulse. So those two lows do have some liquidity resting below those lows. And if we actually go ahead and look at our heat map here, liquidation heat map, you can see that right around 95.5 would end all that liquidity. 95.5, 95.4 is where all that local liquidity to the downside is. If we look on Bybit, you can see right around 95.5 is that local liquidity to the downside. So we have liquidity down there. We can verify that. We have levels of support down there, and we have the value area high of our entire ascending channel price action. This area to me is an area where I would be interested in looking for a scalp long riding the trend. The trend is starting to get a little exhausted here, so we have to be aware of that. And I would even look to, if I long this here, what I would look at doing, pulling your golden pocket from the highs to the lows, or to the wherever we bounce. Let's just say it's right there, right on that 0.5. And I would be looking at your local golden pocket, your very first local golden pocket, as a potential TP1 area, because you could make a lower high. At that point, you would be breaking some of this market structure, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows. If we start to break market structure bearishly, breaking these higher lows, then we could be saying, okay, market structure is finally starting to shift. Maybe we're going to come up to the local golden pocket, put in our first lower high, and then continue dropping. That is why I would look to take some profit at that golden pocket. But overall, Bitcoin's still looking pretty strong here. It is finding some resistance at the point of control like we expected. And in yesterday's video, I did say it's possible to start to form a range between 96 and 97.3. Look at what we're doing. We're starting to form a range between 96 and 97.3. Really 96 and 98. But this range here is a range that we could look at over the entire weekend, or we could look at even a bigger range between 95 and 98. So right now, yeah, Bitcoin is at the local golden pocket from our dead cat bounce lows to our highs of this micro range. And if it can hold, we can probably push up. Now, if it holds, we are even taking, we looked at these during the stream today. We looked at these internal lows here. They're semi-equal internal lows. We didn't really see the liquidity grab. We did get an attempt at it. It didn't work. Because it didn't work, I am looking at a little bit lower. But I would like to say this. Look on our 12-minute chart. We're on the 12-minute chart now. Look at all these wicks to the downside, still showing buying pressure. Well, look at the last time we saw that. Buying pressure, wicks to the downside. We got one more push up. We also saw that a couple days ago that I was pointing that out, all those wicks to the downside that we were seeing, and then we got that big push up from it. So I wouldn't be surprised if this does hold. I'm not expecting it to be honest with you. I do think we can, with the bear divs that we're seeing on the chart, I think we can go lower, but it might hold. We'll see. All right, zooming out onto some higher type price action. Actually, before we zoom out to higher type price action, let me go to the 1 hour chart. And I do want to show you guys a new pitchfork that I found. I talked about this today in the stream. So I'm going to go ahead and turn off that parallel channel for just a second. Let me turn off the fibs. Let me clean this up just a little bit here. Clean up this chart just a little bit. And let me get rid of these guys here. And let me get rid of this. Okay, so now let's go ahead and look at our new pitchfork that we found. I pulled this pitchfork based off those 74K lows, but I want to zoom in here on the 15-minute chart for this pitchfork. You can see here we were chopping around in the band. Once we broke above the band, we back tested the band, held it as support, and busted above the midline. You can see here the midline was acting pretty nicely as a support level. Well, once we busted above the midline, we tested it as support, came up to the upper band, rejected from the upper band, came down to the midline, tested it as support, and we're hovering right around that midline. We just started losing it during the stream. We were right here in this area, and I talked about it looks like we're going to lose it, and we did end up losing it. For the first time throughout the day, or in a while, we back tested that VWAP and flipped it bearish and then rejected from the VWAP after losing it. So yeah, Bitcoin is losing this pitchfork midline, but this pitchfork has been a really nicely respected pitchfork for quite a while here. You can see in these pitchforks, so if we're looking at this big push up, let me actually zoom out a bit more here. If we're looking at this big pitchfork from the lows of 74K, and then we look at that kind of wave 2 correction here, oftentimes in those pitchforks, your wave 3 will pump to the top of the pitchfork or even a little bit higher. And we did. And then oftentimes in your wave 4 correction, you correct down to the bottom of the pitchfork. Even though it's like a sideways correction, sideways and down, you usually correct to the bottom of the pitchfork. And then in a wave 5, you push up to the top of the pitchfork again, and then you see that end and a bigger dump. But we are still looking at this in two different scenarios. I guess I should say I'm looking at this in two different scenarios. Still that bigger ABC. We hit our target now, and we could see the dump from here. Or if you want to look at this as a 5-wave impulse, you have your 1, 2, 3, 4, And then are we pushing up in a 5 still? Maybe the 5 ending at 100.5 or 98.3. Either way you look at it, we are seeing lots of bear divs coming on the chart. Look at all these lower highs in the momentum waves, money flow, lower highs in the money flow. We are seeing bear divs all over the chart, and we are starting to find exhaustion in this ascending channel area here after that big impulse up. So anytime you see that exhaustion, you just got to be careful. We're starting to see that momentum slow down a bit. And this time, unlike last time, this time we have a lot of bear divs on the chart, and we are actually at the key resistance area. Last time we saw that, we were not at a key resistance area. We were waiting patiently to get up here. We're finally up here. Now, I did say in yesterday's video, and I'll continue to say this, we could form a range around this point of control. If we look at higher time frames, let me just go to a different chart here. If we look at higher time frames, oftentimes you have your big impulse up, and then you will start to form a topping range. Very, very similar. Actually, let me go zoom out onto the daily chart. And this is a good example of this, actually. You see, if this was our wave 4 and this is a wave 5 and our last impulse to the upside, you see that big, nice impulse to the upside. And then you start to get that ascending channel where you start to get some exhaustion in the buying, and then you get a bit of a range that forms for a bit, and then you dump. So think about this. We could see something just like this on lower time frames. Actually, let's just go ahead and take that bars pattern again, and we'll pull it just from this impulsive price action over. Let's do this, and then let's take this and let's shrink this up, and let's zoom in on the 2-hour chart. Where did that guy go? Okay, let me zoom back out for a second and grab that guy, throw him here real quick. Okay, and we could see something. Look at this. If we just put this over here, it does look very, very similar to what we're seeing now. You see that ascending channel that comes in, you get your initial drop, and by the way, we'll talk about this midline in just a second, because look how well this bars pattern, this fractal plays into this. Look at the push up. It looks almost exactly the same, literally almost exactly the same here. Push up in the bars pattern, you get that high, you get a bit of a drop, maybe even coming down to your pitchfork midline. Now remember, this is our bigger pitchfork where we rejected from the all-time high. Once we lost the midline, we flipped the midline many times to resistance, and we came down to the lower band. We held the lower band as support with bullish divs on the daily, multiple drives. That's why we expected this big relief rally. Now that we are above the midline could hold as support, and we could continue to work our way up to the next big pitchfork level, which guess what? It would be near the all-time highs. It would be an SFP of the all-time highs, or up to around 114. But we could expect, because this is a big resistance area, being the point of control of the last 4 or 5 months of price action, we could expect a range to come in here for, a bit or so, maybe till the end of May, maybe 3 weeks or so. We've already been ranging for about a week or so, maybe 7, 8, 9 days here. So if we look at this fractal, I think something like this could play out. Now let's go ahead and zoom in on this. Let's zoom in onto the 30-minute chart. And if we look at this fractal, what happens? You see a bit of a drop. We could see a bit of a drop all the way to the midline here. Now, I talked about this midline in our stream as well. This midline is right around that value area low. Remember that macro value area low. I'm just going to hide this bars pattern for now. That macro value area low of our previous range is right around 93K. Also, we have some key liquidity that's resting down there right below 93K. Let me go on to the hourly chart. Right below 93K, we have this low here and a low that was front run, not grabbing the liquidity. We could see that drop all the way down to 93 to SFP these lows into our pitchfork midline and then push up. Now, I'm still looking at 95.5 first. If we bounce from 95.5 being the value area high of this range, then we'll expect higher first. If we break back into the value area of this range, then we could probably expect a push down to the value area low, which guess where the value area low is? Right around those lows, right around the pitchfork midline. So this is the scenarios that I'm watching for. And with the amount of bear divs on the chart, I would not be surprised if we did drop all the way to 93K. But 93K is going to be very important to hold now. Now that we have broken back into this prior all-time high range in here, we want to hold the value area low. If we drop to 93K, we'll be rejecting from the point of control. So let me zoom out a bit onto the 4-hour. Let's go ahead and grab a volume profile of this range. And you can see that 93K area right here, 93.1, 93K, is the value area low. You can also see we're at the point of control of that range right now. So if we come up, we've found reacceptance back into this range, showing that Bitcoin wants to trade with the fair value of Bitcoin within this range between 103,000 and 93,000, with your biggest level of volume at 97K, 97.3, which is where we're at right now. So if Bitcoin rejects from this area and we see a real rejection because of the bear divs, then the logical thing to see is the back test of the value area low to see if Bitcoin's going to try to stay within the fair value of this range. If it does not, we will see the bigger drop and maybe all the way down to 83K or lower. But if it can hold 93K on that drop, I do think we can bust up all the way up to 102, 103K. So this is what we're going to be watching for over the next week to 2 weeks or so, is a drop, first and foremost, over the weekend, that 95.5 level. But if it breaks 95.5 and we start to lose the lows of this very micro range here, I expect to drop down to 93K. So I hope that kind of shares a little bit with you guys of my my mentality here in trading Bitcoin. Right now, yeah, just watching this, first playing this local range and then playing the bigger range here. Okay, guys, that is about it for Bitcoin. Now, I do have a couple sponsors of the channel. Links are in the description and the comments, but I am partnered with BYDFI and MEXC. Both trading partners are exchanges that will, if you sign up using my affiliate link, you will get discounts on your trading fees. On BYDFI, it's 17% discounts on trading fees. You can also get up to 15% cash back on BYDFI, up to $1,000. Depending on how much you deposit, you get 15% cash back. And there is up to $8,100 in rewards, depending on how much trading volume you do with futures trading. That link is in the description in the comments. And then MEXC, they also have 10% cash back on whatever you deposit into the exchange. And there is also discounts on trading fees and up to $20,000 in futures trading bonuses, depending on how much volume you trade there. Also, guys, if you like the video, if you get anything out of this video, please like the video. Please share it with anyone that you might find some value out of this. Just helps the channel grow, and I am trying to grow this channel more. And that's it for that. Okay, on to Ethereum. Ethereum is still trading within our box of resistance here. Now, the last couple videos I made on Ethereum, I did say I wanted to come a little bit higher within this box, actually pretty much to the top of the box where the prior range point of control is. And you can see we are starting to kind of form that range, like I said a few days ago, between the SR flip level and the resistance area. So we are forming that range within there. But you can see right now, at least, we're holding above the value area high of that range. We had broke above it. We had back tested it, but we did not make new highs. We made a higher low here, and we are dropping. But here's the thing on this. If we zoom in a bit, let's go to the 15-minute chart, and let's just look at this last drop that we saw on Ethereum. So we back tested the value area. I held it, and we pushed back up. If we take a Fibonacci from our highs to our lows, and we turn on the 886, you can see that we did kind of reject from the 886. Now that this 886 here has been hit, I could understand that might be a little bit hard to see. Now that 886 has been hit there, we are looking, eventually it gives us a higher probability to come take out these highs because we are in a trending uptrend. Anytime you hit an 886 and reject from an 886 in a trending market, you do increase the probabilities to come take out those highs. So I would actually be looking for Ethereum now to be forming its micro range between this value area high and the highs that we're at now, this little micro range here. I do think it's possible for Ethereum to drop all the way back down to that point of control, to back test that point of control a second time, and then continue up to take out our highs around 1875 up into like 1885. one more high into the top of the box into that prior range point of control. And then from there, we'll have to see how it looks. If we continue to show bear divs, then that might be it. We might get the bigger correction to the downside. Now, money flow on Ethereum looks pretty good here on the 15-minute. Look at this money flow here. And I do think that Ethereum is looking a little bit more bullish than Bitcoin right now because of this 886 tap here. We might just continue. Let's actually pull our golden pocket from the lows to the highs of this last push up. Let's turn on our golden pocket. Yeah, we're bouncing from the golden pocket right now. So with Ethereum hitting that 886, I would not be surprised if Ethereum bounces from this golden pocket as we speak and pushes up to 1885. For me, that would be acceptable to see that. But I do want to see Ethereum. Let's look at the 786 on this, because this internal liquidity right down here is interesting to me, but that's below the 786. Okay. If Bitcoin's going to hold, I think this golden pocket's going to be the, or not Bitcoin, Ethereum. If Ethereum's going to hold, this golden pocket's probably going to be the level, and then we can make one more attempt at those highs, SFPing those highs into that point of control up above, and then maybe we'll see a bigger correction. But also, guys, make no mistake, Ethereum is seeing bigger bear divs on the chart as well. And I do think Ethereum is getting ready for a bigger pullback as well. See these 4 hour, especially, look how clear it is on the 4 hour. Let me go ahead and clean this chart up just a little bit. You can see all these higher highs coming in here on the price action, all these lower highs coming in here on the momentum waves, and our money flow is now draining out of the asset. We are seeing those exhaustive type price action happen into our resistance area. So if we do see a if we come up one more time into that prior range point of control, and then we see the bigger rejection, we can come all the way down to 1723 to grab the liquidity from those range lows. Or I think we could even come all the way back down to this box here, this point of control, golden pocket anchored VWAP. And let me just make sure that that golden pocket is still the same, because we did make new highs. So here, yeah, golden pocket shifted up a bit actually. And let's look at our naked daily points of control. Okay, we do have a naked daily point of control a bit above there. Ooh, okay, interesting. And let's pull our volume profile again of this lower range. Okay, I actually like this a bit better now. So what I'm going to do with this box, I'm going to shift this box up a bit to our value area high, golden pocket. And let's just make it a little bit thinner here. So we're going to come in here. We're going to edit this box. This is going to be our value area high, golden pocket, and then the anchored VWAP is no longer in that area. It's a bit above, but we'll just say value area high, golden pocket. I like that area still. That is between 1667 and 1656. So that would be an area where, just like with Bitcoin, we broke out of one range, broke above it. We have not back tested it yet. So if we do drop that far down, a back test to that area would be nice to put in a higher low and continue this trend higher. Okay, that is it there. Let's make sure. Let's see. I think I have an ascending channel, a parallel channel here. Not that one. Let's see. Okay, let's just go ahead and do that real quick. So let's hide these prior ranges. Let's hide this guy. And let's see. I'm going to hide some of these lower support boxes down below. And let's look at this ascending channel, because it does look like Ethereum is sort of forming an ascending channel in here. And yeah, I would say, okay, so this is interesting. We did have that naked daily point of control that's coming in around the bottom of the channel. And also it would be kind of a liquidity grab of these range lows into the naked daily point of control into the bottom of the channel. That is an area, that's at $1,700 pretty much. $1,700 is an area that would be a little bit interesting to look for. a small bounce from there as well. Let's just do this 17. Okay. Um, all right. So let's turn that off. But yeah, right now Ethereum's looking pretty good. Like I've been saying in a lot of my last videos, I do think Ethereum is going to form a bit of an accumulation range in here for a bit. So I would like to see a rejection now that we might come up to this 1900 to 2000 level before seeing that and see between 1500 and 2000, 1500 and 2000. But I do expect Ethereum is also looking like it's going to form a bigger pullback very soon. We're starting to see that exhaustion up here towards the towards the top, and we are hitting into resistance. Now, with that local 886 touch, I do expect one more high before the big drop. Just keep that in mind. Ethereum is looking pretty good right now locally. Okay, but that is it for Ethereum. Let's now go ahead and look at Solana. Solana is trading in this descending channel. Now, I did short the golden pocket on Solana earlier today, so I'm still in that short, but I did get a TP1 at these lows here at 148. It was these lows, 148. Had it exactly at 148 TP. But let's see. So Solana, we hit into that. First of all, let's back up here. Solana hit into our bigger area of resistance. I think I have a box in here somewhere. Let's see here. Okay, we did hit into an area of resistance up here, and then we saw that drop over the weekend. And then from that drop, we pulled another resistance area. And I pulled that, it looks like on Monday, Sunday, Monday. We looked at this box. We drew this box on Sunday or Monday. Well, yesterday, we came up to that box. We hit into that box and rejected. So that box was our 786. We did have a naked daily point of control, which is at 154.4. We did not hit into that. And then we had our liquidity grab of these prior highs. So you can see that perfect liquidity grab. And guys, liquidity is so important in the market. The market makers literally run off stealing liquidity from retail. So anytime you see potential liquidity grabs into key resistances, make sure you're taking profit there. If you bought this 140 set 3.8 point of control, remember I bought longed it once we reclaimed this point of control. I longed. Well, that was the TP area for me. One of them. I actually took profit a little bit before down here too. But you can see we rejected from that area. Now, once we saw that rejection, I pulled a channel, a descending channel from our highs on last Friday to our lower highs that we made yesterday. And then I pulled it down to our first low of this range. You can see this range in here. If we do a volume profile, we just go look at that sideways range of all the price action within the channel. And I do think that we could come a little bit lower to this value area low or even the daily down here. But you can see that range. So I pulled the channel. Now, how I got into the short earlier today on Solana, I just did a Fibonacci pull from the highs of yesterday down to the lows of last night. And you can see we came up to that golden pocket. We were seeing some bear divs. Also, once again, guys, liquidity. Internal liquidity grab of those highs into the golden pocket. Saw that, saw some confirmations, took the short. And the target of that short was just to come down to take out these little range lows here, these internal lows. And I did that. So I took 50% profit. I'm still open on that. My stop is now at break even, so it's a risk-free trade. And I am still expecting this could come a bit lower though. But overall, chopping sideways and down in this descending channel is pretty bullish on the macro for Solana. I do think we can still make that move up to 168.4, 161.4, excuse me. And that's where our anchored VWAP from the all-time high is. There's a 786 and a naked daily point of control up in this area. So that's it for Solana right now. Solana is trading in this descending channel. I do think we can come a bit lower. Look at these range lows down here. I am interested in longing if we do chop for a bit in this channel over the weekend. You know, maybe do something like this, lose it, back test, and come down over the weekend to the bottom of the channel. Grab the liquidity from these lows at about 140 and then see a push up, a break up to 161. I will be looking for longs on a successful liquidity grab. Now, let me say I'm not limiting in there. I am waiting for the break and pierce of the level and then the reclaim of the level. Once we reclaim the level, I will long with my stop below that low and look to take it up to higher levels. But no limit orders will be sitting there waiting for it. It's that I'm not hoping and praying. I'm looking for reactions. But Solana looks pretty strong. Solana does look pretty strong here. We did reject from our local resistance. I did miss that one. Or, yeah, I missed the short on that one. I TP'd on that one. I had a limit TP sitting there. So, and then, of course, I got the short here. I like trading Solana. Solana is one of the good ones for me. Okay, that is about it for Solana. Well, let's zoom out and look at macro just a bit here. More macro type price action. I still do like this area of support down here. We have the SFP of these lows into our 786. Our anchored VWAP from the lows is going to be coming up into that area. And then we have our pitchfork band of support. That's about 132 to 130. So that's an area of interest for me. If we start to break this descending channel down, yeah. And I would say that Solana as well, check this out. Higher highs through all of this. Lower highs through all of this, money flow draining out of the asset, finally crossing into the red on the 4-hour chart. I do think Solana is due for a bigger pullback. So I think that maybe this was the temporary high and we do get a move down. Now let's take our Fibonacci pull from the lows of Solana at $96 all the way up to the highs. And let's look at our 382 because your 382 often acts as support resistance in a strong trend. Well, check that out. Your 382 is right above that liquidity, right below that liquidity grab at 133. And I'm actually going to drag that box up to that area just based off of that. So that 382 right there, I'm actually going to set an alert here. SFP long, but remember, only if we get the SFP. That will be an area, about that 133 area will be an area where I'll be looking to long that, knowing that Solana's been pretty bullish. Okay, that's it for Solana. Let's go now to XRP. XRP here. Okay, let's pull this range all the way. XRP's been kind of boring, just ranging in this small micro range here on the 4-hour chart. I would like to say XRP it's not looking super bullish like some of the other coins, but it's also not really as bearish as some of the other coins. So XRP is just trading in this small range here. We could look at this being a head and shoulders type of pattern, so we have to be careful. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder here. And then we could break that down. And that is a topping reversal pattern, so we do need to be aware of that. We finally hit into this resistance. So if you guys go watch my videos way when we were over here, I marked this resistance out. I marked it out before April 10th. We marked it out before April 10th, and we've been watching that resistance being the golden pocket and the daily confluence. We finally hit into that level, and then we got the big drop. But look at this drop to me. 1, 2, that's a triangle, and 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we're expecting an A, B, C up and a B, and then another 5-wave impulse down. If this is a bigger ABC correction, so we're expecting 1, 2, maybe one more high to be made into this value area high or up into this local resistance that I marked out here. We haven't touched this local resistance since I marked it out last Wednesday. But I would say that we could expect that move up into this area. And then from there, we could get another 5-wave mini impulse down, something similar to this, down again, hitting into maybe even the value area low down here at 204 of the bigger range. That's the value area low of the bigger range where we then would be looking to look for a long from there. Okay, let me get rid of this stuff here. Let's see here. Let me pull this range and get it all the way to present day now. Yeah, this range is our big range since back in December. So that value area low is going to be really important. Now, we have not made it up to the point of control of that range yet, which is a bit concerning. Bitcoin's made it up to its point of control. Solana's past its point of control. Well, XRP hasn't, but XRP also is not showing quite as many bear divs on the chart as some of these other coins are. So it is still showing bear divs. Don't get me wrong. Look at this on the 1 hour chart. Higher high, lower high here. That's bad, but lower high here, and then a trigger wave here. So it is showing some bear divs, but not quite as aggressive as some of the other coins. We are right at the point of control of this mini range now. This could hold and we could pump up, but I would actually like a move down to the value area low of the range where you can see this naked daily point of control. Actually, I think that's been tapped now. Let me double check this because I'm pretty sure I longed that earlier. No, it's still on there. Okay, that's, yeah, 216. At 216, we have a naked daily point of control. I would like to come down to 216, and I would be looking for a scalp long at 216. Naked daily point of control, and it's the value area low of this range. Also, if we just look at our local golden pocket bull here, golden pocket's close by. I would actually prefer the 786 because the 786 is a bit below them. So pierce that level, hit into that, and come back within it. But taking that into account, we should, this pull, this Fibonacci pull is going to change. If we're assuming that this is an A wave, we're going to see a 3-wave corrective structure and a B wave up to our golden pocket. That's usually where it ends. And then we'll see a C wave down. You can look for that Fibonacci pull will go from low to high here. And then you might get a scalp long in this area, like a wave 3 bounce and then a 4-5, you know. So just be aware that if this is going to be a bigger ABC, this might not be the best. You would play that as a scalp for sure. As a scalp for sure, taking profits at a lower high. You just have to know the context of the scalp you're trading. Okay, that is about it for XRP. I mean, it's not it. I'm sorry. I still do think we can move up to this point of control and the anchored VWAP from the all-time highs right around 240, 241-ish. But if we get that bigger dump before then, I would look to come down to this value area low again. About, what is that, 204, 204.4? Or even a bit lower. I can go ahead now. Let's see here. Let's go onto the daily chart and let's see if that daily has been tapped. I need to organize this chart a bit better. No, that daily has not been tapped. If we continue to rise here on the, if we bounce from this point of control right now and we continue to rise, that level right here, this box is just a good box because, and actually I would rather, let's check out where that golden pocket is coming in first off. Here, golden pocket. Okay, it is. Yeah. Okay, so we do got to put it all the way to the golden pocket. I would even include that value area high, but let's just leave that as that for now. I would look at that naked daily point of control and daily level. And actually, let's check out this 786 here. Okay, 786 is a bit too high. Yeah, so naked daily and daily up around 228 to 229 is an area of interest. Golden pockets close by. And then, yeah, down below. Those are our scalp trades. 228 to 229 short area. And then 216 to like 216.5 is a long area. If we're just going to range over the weekend. But yeah, that's about it for XRP, guys. And then if we start to lose that, you know, our range lows at 211. The SFP of those would be nice. We have that weekly down there at 207. That's going to be nice. But that's about it. Okay, Link here. Link is also forming this range. Let's go ahead and extend that. We did bounce from the golden pocket and that naked daily point of control. I'm going to delete those now because I showed you that. I marked this out ahead of time. We bounced from it ahead of time, or we bounced from it when the time came. So I can delete those now. Now let's go ahead and actually let's see if this naked daily point of control was hit as well. Because that naked daily point of control was an area we were looking at with POC confluence there. And yeah, we hit it. So I can delete this naked daily point of control now. You can see we had a rejection from that naked daily point of control. We had a rejection. We had a bounce from this naked daily point of control. Next naked daily point of control is way down at like 12.7. Let's turn that off. Okay, so let's kind of analyze here what's happening with Chainlink. I mean, Chainlink does look pretty good in the sense that 1, 2, 3. I mean, this let me just delete this range. This does look like corrective price action, this range that we're seeing here, a flat type corrective price action. And if we look at a descending channel here, I would say we're trading within this descending channel. It would be nice. Well, the midline's holding us so far, so as long as the midline holds us. But I think that Chainlink is looking pretty good. We do have the bear divs on the chart as well, but this does not look too, this looks corrective. This looks like corrective consolidation, corrective bullish consolidation before another push up. And I do think that we could even push up to that 17.8K area, not 8K, 17.7 to 17.9 area of resistance on the charts. We do have to be careful for this internal liquidity grab at pretty much $16. Yeah, $16 pretty much exactly. So I'd be watching for the fake out the SFP of 16. If we get a confirmed SFP of 16, I would look for a short there. Just based off of like this being a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, ending your fifth wave at that SFP and then dumping. Let's actually go ahead and look at our Fibonacci pull there. So if we grab our Fibonacci, we'll go from the highs to the lows. All right. Yeah, it's right in that target zone. 16.3. If we SFP that into 16.3 and then dropped, I mean, that would be the area. So I'm actually going to throw a box up here. SFP into wave 5 targets. Okay, that would be an area I'm looking as well. Now, to the downside, we do have that new daily down there. Actually, let's go ahead and look at let's jump on the daily chart. And let's see here. So we've taken out these dailies here. We do have a new daily level of support that I did not mark out yet. Maybe I did, but let's just mark it out. 14.29. That's a daily. Now let's zoom in here onto the 30-minute chart. Okay, that daily might be near our golden pocket. Let's pull our golden pocket from our last lows to our highs. And let's go to the golden pocket. Yeah, okay. That is our local support level. Daily in confluence with the golden pocket. Local guys, if remember we have bear divs on the chart. If those bear divs really start to play out and this starts to kick in, this would absolutely not hold. So please be aware of that. You want to be seeing low time frame bull divs as we're coming up there. You can actually see here lower lows in the price action here, higher lows in the momentum waves. That gave us that little bit of a push up, but because our money flow was still crossing into the red and bearish, we didn't really break out a fully. So we want to see this money flow kind of bottoming out here too. You can see NAMI is showing some hidden bull divs on the chart, along with some bull divs that we're also confirming on NAMI. But I would like to see a move down to that 14.3 area, 14.29. I'm actually going to set an alert on this because I think that could be a good with overall perspective of this channel, this descending channel, being not SFP. What am I doing? With the overall bias in mind that this is bullish consolidation here, if we move down to that local golden pocket, which is also a daily level, that would be a good scalp long, even just to take up to the top of the channel where we could SFP all these highs up here into the top of the channel. I would be willing to take 100% profit up there and then see another drop. But I would probably honestly leave a little bit to run just in case we break out. I'd probably take, 60% profit up here. That's it though for Chainlink. I mean, Chainlink does look pretty good. I think that we do have a potential to go higher on Chainlink, but if Bitcoin starts dumping because of all those bear divs, so will Chainlink. And then if we lose that, honestly, the next level, like there's not too much else that we could be looking at here. We have that daily at 13.1. Let's see, is there a naked daily down there? There might be a naked daily down here. No, it's a little bit lower. Okay, bummer. Yeah, I would be looking, and then let's actually pull a volume profile from, remember, right after this impulse finished. So I'm pulling it from this middle one for a reason, because that was the end of this impulse, and then we got that three-wave corrective move with that Trump tweet. So let's pull it from there. Okay, rejecting value area high. We came down, we bounced from the point of control. So right now we're ranging between the value area high and the point of control of this range. So knowing that, if we do come down to that point of control again, I actually would want to come down a little bit further and SFP the lows into the bottom of the channel. That's another trade I would be looking at, the SFP of the lows into the bottom of the channel. Yes, it would put us a little bit below our point of control, but I do think that still could play out. So let's do this as well. I want to set an alert here too. So SFP into, because Chainlink is looking a little bit more bullish. But look at the bear. I mean, so Bitcoin has really harsh bear divs. Solana has some pretty harsh bear divs. XRP not as much, but it has the bear divs. Well, on Chainlink, because we didn't really make new highs. I mean, this isn't new high, so we do have very slight bear divs here, but money flow is still going up. But now on Chainlink, the bear divs are far less severe than on Bitcoin. So Chainlink, and if Bitcoin dominance, by the way, is super high. We'll go into that right now. Bitcoin dominance is super high. If Bitcoin drops and some of these alts can hold, we might see a push up on some of the alts relative to Bitcoin, because Bitcoin dominance is just crazy right now. That's the CME futures. Let's go here. Dominance. Yeah. Okay, so let's go in onto the daily chart. I mean, like, look at Bitcoin dominance. It's freaking crazy how this has been going. Now, guys, on this channel, I've been showing you guys this ascending channel. Let me get out here. Let's zoom out to the zoom into the 2-day chart. Bitcoin's been in this ascending channel for quite a while here. And we did see that fake out of the channel, re-entered the channel, back tested it, held its support, came up to the midline, rejected, came down to the bottom again, held it, bottom again, held it, came up to the top, rejected. Then we were chopping around the midline for quite a while. And remember, last time I looked at this, we were chopping around this midline. I did say we could get another move up to take out these highs. Well, guess what? We got another move up to take out the highs. But look at this. Bitcoin's not quite at the top of the channel yet. I do think dominance can continue just a little bit higher to about 65.4, 65.3, 65.4. And then we could see that drop on dominance, which would mean alts could pump against Bitcoin. Look at the money flow on the Bitcoin dominance. Now, I understand this is a dominance chart, not money flow going in and out of an asset, but this still shows relative strength here. And the momentum wave, it looks like it's green dot starting to curl back up for another push up here. I think Bitcoin is going to continue to look strong against the altcoins for just a bit longer, and then we could see a run on some of these alts. So I am looking, that's why you guys saw me putting a lot of alerts on alts today, is because I am going to be looking for some opportunities on alts, but not quite yet. I want to see another drop on alts down to some local support levels, see Bitcoin drop, and Bitcoin could get the bigger dump. The bear divs on Bitcoin are far more severe than on some of the altcoins. So, and I know though, if Bitcoin dumps, altcoins are going to follow, but maybe altcoins are already so beaten down, they just don't drop as much. So that's kind of it for today, guys. If you got anything out of this video, please like the video, please subscribe to the channel, and I will not be making a video tomorrow, but maybe on Sunday I might go live. So I'll let you guys know. I'll schedule it in my YouTube channel ahead of time, a couple hours ahead of time. But look out for a possible live stream on Sunday. All right, have a good weekend, everybody. Trade safe, use stops, and be smart. Peace out.